We have breaking news into CBS Sports HQ, where Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons has formally requested a trade. Now, negotiations have apparently stalled between Parsons and the team, and now he wants out. Parsons took to social media earlier this afternoon with this statement, saying, quote, "After repeated shots at myself in all the narratives, I have made a tough decision. I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally," end quote. For much more on this, let's go ahead and welcome back to the show our own John Breach and Ryan Wilson for more. Guys, let's just go ahead and start with your reaction to this news. Ryan, I'll start with you.
I'm surprised that Micah lasted this long if what he wrote in his statement is true, and I have every reason to believe that it is, and that there has been radio silence from the Dallas organization side of things going back to the spring. I don't know what the end game would be if you're Jerry or Stephen Jones. He is the best player, one of the best players that doesn't play quarterback in the NFL. He is only 25 years old. He is only going to get better, and if he is not on your team in 2025, your defense is going to average giving up 38 points a game. So all that taken together, and with the understanding, John, that they could have signed him back in the spring, and they let T.J. Watt sign a deal, so now they're going to have to pay more than $41 million. It does not make sense to me. I'll ask you, as someone who is a Bengals fan and has similar situations going on with your edge rushers, is there any rationale to not signing Micah Parsons to the money that he has deserved?
Well, Ryan, first of all, Bengals fans should feel a lot better about their situation with Trey Hendrickson, because this is totally scorched earth. I am not surprised, as you just said, that Micah Parsons requested a trade. I am surprised in the way he did it by essentially throwing the entire organization under the bus. He makes the Cowboys come across as totally dysfunctional, which probably isn't too far away from the truth. We've seen them have this acrimonious contract negotiations with CeeDee Lamb, with Dak Prescott. It seems like it happens every single time that the Cowboys have to hand out a record-breaking type of contract. And Parsons is clearly frustrated. This is months of frustration building up. And this isn't just a trade request. He wrote an entire book and posted it on social media giving all of the details. So this is as frustrated as I have ever seen an NFL player publicly act. And so I think the one thing you do keep in mind if you're the Cowboys is that sometimes money does solve everything. Earlier this offseason, we saw Myles Garrett come out and say he did not want to play for the Cleveland Browns anymore. He wanted to be traded. They fixed that by getting what was then a record-setting contract. So if the Cowboys call up Parsons tonight and offer him record-setting money, maybe that fixes things. But for now, this is pretty ugly for Dallas.
Yeah, John is speaking nothing but facts there. In case you have not seen the post that Micah Parsons did release to social media. I mean, things he said, unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. He goes on to say, I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. I no longer want narratives created and spread to the media about me. You can go ahead and check that out on X. So obviously, as you mentioned, Ryan, he's in his prime, 25 years old, only going to get better. With that being said, in your opinion, what's next?
I think he plays for the Cowboys. Look, he has every reason to be angry about what's going on and the mistreatment that he is feeling. Because, again, if what he's written is true, and I have no reason to believe it's not, then it's not the best way to go about business. But John just pointed out, Jerry Jones and that organization drags their feet consistently in paying their best players, in the process costing themselves millions. But the reality is this, Micah Parsons is still under contract, and as John alluded to, if you offer Micah Parsons $43 million a year, maybe he feels better about the idea of staying in Dallas. I would imagine if you ask him, he loves playing with his teammates. He just doesn't like the business side of things, and that's typically where things start to go south for player and organization, when it feels like the marriage is going to have to dissolve. I don't think we're at that point yet. I think that Mike is incredibly frustrated, and instead of talking quietly about it, he's putting it out there for everyone to see, and then he's going to allow Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones to be on their heels and have to respond to all the stuff that he's put out there. And hopefully this facilitates the deal getting done sooner rather than later, because I think at the end of the day, he probably does want to be in Dallas, but he feels like probably he's out of options. So this, he went with the nuclear option, it appears to be.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Micah Parsons taking control of the narrative. He's been saying all the right things for the past several months that, hey, something's going to get done. And he was saying this kind of gritting through his teeth, knowing that his agent hadn't been talking with the Cowboys because the Cowboys refused to talk to Parsons' agent. And so, but he kept saying, I'm going to stay in Dallas. This is going to happen. He showed up to mandatory minicamp. He showed up to training camp, even though he hasn't been practicing. And so this is just your frustrations get so high that you just say, all right, well, let's just do this negotiation in public. I'm going to publicly embarrass you guys and kind of force you to the negotiating table. I do agree with Ryan. I think that this ends with Parsons staying in Dallas only because the Cowboys do know they have all the leverage here, most of the leverage, because as Ryan mentioned, they have him under contract for the 2025 season. They could hit him with the franchise tag after this year. So now you're talking about 2 years where they really have Parsons locked up if they want. And so they can kind of tell Micah, look, we don't have to do this on our terms. We want to give you record-setting money, but look, we're going to do this. We're going to negotiate. That's all that they need to do. That's what hasn't been done. And so this is just Micah Parsons putting their feet to the fire and saying, let's get this done. So I do feel like that he ends up getting a record-setting deal. But, man, what a way to get there. This is just nonstop drama in Dallas.
Cowboys fans certainly hope something comes to fruition here and that they do lock up Micah Parsons for the foreseeable future. If that is the route, what kind of number, John, do you think he's going to get?
Well, this feels like a situation where Jerry needs to call up Micah Parsons and or mail him a blank check and say, all right, you know what? We haven't treated you fairly. You put whatever number you want out there. We're looking at the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL. TJ Watt obviously getting that $41 million per year contract. And the interesting thing here is look down at Nick Bosa at number 7. He was the highest paid pass rusher back in January. So if you were the Cowboys and you had gotten a deal done, you probably could have gotten something done for $36, $37 million per year. And now that price has gone up more than 20% because you've been dragging your feet because Danielle Hunter got his deal, Myles Garrett got his deal, TJ Watt got his deal, and the market shot up. So the Cowboys are paying this tax now because they've waited so long. But Micah Parsons is going to get $42, $43 million. He is absolutely going to top that TJ Watt number whenever he eventually does get a new deal, whether that's with the Cowboys or with some mystery team he gets traded to.
John, it might be instructive to look at Dak Prescott's deal because your Joe Burrow got $55 million to set the market, and Jerry Jones, let's see what he did here, paid him $5 million more than that per year on average. So Dak makes $60 million a year. So it would not be outside the realm of possibility, Jordan, if we see Micah's deal not be 41 and a penny, that 1 penny more than what TJ Watt is now making as the highest paid edge rusher, but 45 or 46. Now, here's the concern, and this was the concern that we've all been talking about for months, it feels like. You're going to pay CeeDee Lamb, eventually Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott. They're going to account for about 38 to 40% of your salary cap. It's hard to build a team around that and compete in an incredibly tough division already. So as John noted, it feels like the front office continues to put themselves behind the 8 ball by dragging their feet on signing their best players and making them angry in the process. And one last thing I'll say, Jordan, if we live in a planet where Micah Parsons would get traded, I would demand 3 first-round picks for him. That's how good he is. But the lesson is keep Micah Parsons, make him happy, and give him what he's due. And let's get on with the Dallas Cowboys being something other than an off-field distraction, which feels like every August is where we find ourselves.
They don't need any more of those, that's for sure. Well, Micah Parsons now joins Terry McLaurin as the latest player in the NFC East to request a trade. Gentlemen, incredible insight as always from both of you as we are here with some breaking news. Micah Parsons officially submits a trade request to be traded from the Dallas Cowboys, saying this on social media: after repeated shots at myself and all the narratives I have made a tough decision, I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally.